Hi there, welcome to Across the Balkans. I'm Nafisa Latic. Great to have your company. In just over a year, Turkey and Greece have gone from a tense relationship plagued by confrontation and public disputes to a process of reconciliation. And that was on full display during a meeting late last year between Turkey's president and the Prime Minister of Greece in Athens. One of the deals reached from those discussions was the easing of visa regulations for Turkish travelers who are looking to holiday in several islands in the Aegean Sea. Fay Doulgheri reports from Athens.
Travelers from Turkey will be able to visit 10 Greek islands with a FastTrack temporary visa. This was announced by Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis after his historic meeting with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan last December in Athens. After a long period of tension, the leaders signaled the beginning of a new era in relations between Ankara and Athens, signing a series of agreements for cooperation in various sectors. Under the agreement for the express visas, Turkish citizens will be able to, all year round for 7 days, visit nearly a dozen islands in the Aegean Sea with a fast-track visa. Up until now, visitors from Turkey had to go to the Greek consulate in Izmir, file all the papers, and then wait for a visa. But the new 7-day visa will be issued on the spot. Hundreds of thousands of Turkish citizens have been visiting these Greek islands for many years, proving that political problems don't always affect relations at the grassroots level. On the Greek side, this measure had long been requested by the local authorities and businesses, as Turkish visitors are usually warmly welcomed to the islands, especially those which have seen a decline in tourism because of illegal migration. The mayor of Inouses, a small island next to Chios, spoke about the number of Turkish visitors visiting his island in 2023.
Σύμφωνα με τα στοιχεία που έδωσε το Κεντρικό Λιμεναρχείο Χίου από την επιβατική κίνηση του 2023, είχαμε 155.000 επισκέπτες από το Τσεσμέ και 126.000 ακτοπλοϊκούς επισκέπτες από ολόκληρη τη χώρα. Αυτό σημαίνει ότι είναι μια αγορά η οποία ενδιαφέρεται για μας, περνάει ωραία στα νησιά μας, βρίσκει αυτά που θέλει τουριστικά και έπρεπε αυτό να το αξιοποιήσουμε. Λοιπόν, ήταν μια πολύ σωστή κίνηση της κυβέρνησης που βέβαια σταθμίζει πάντα και την εξωτερική πολιτική και τα διπλωματικά θέματα και με την ευκαιρία της επίσκεψης του Προέδρου Ερντογάν λύθηκε και αυτό το θέμα.
It is anticipated the new measure will be a much-needed boost for the islands of the Eastern Aegean. Locals hope the Turkish visitors will help them grow their economy. Giorgos Milonadis is a hotel owner in Chios. He thinks this move will help prolong the tourist season.
Η Chios δουλεύει πάρα πολύ με την τουρκική αγορά, επειδή καταρχήν είμαστε ένας προορισμός που τα έχει όλα. Οι Τούρκοι επισκέπτες νιώθουν σαν το σπίτι τους, πολύ σημαντικό. Έχουμε πάρα πολύ ωραίες παραλίες, πολύ ωραία μεσογειακά χωριά, ωραίο φαγητό. Έχουμε χτίσει μια πολύ δυνατή σχέση όλα αυτά τα χρόνια οι χιώτες επαγγελματίες με τους Τούρκους επισκέπτες. Ένα μεγάλο ποσοστό, λοιπόν, προέρχεται από την τουρκική αγορά. Ειδικότερα χειμώνα, άνοιξη, φθινόπωρο, θα έλεγα ότι η συντριπτική πλειοψηφία των αφήξεων, των τουριστών, προέρχονται από την Τουρκία.
Kostas Papoutsis is the only travel agent in Castellorizo. He says there are already around 5,000 Turkish citizens who are interested in getting the visa as soon as possible.
Κάθε νησί το οποίο βρίσκεται κοντά στην ακτογραμμή της Τουρκίας και συγκεκριμένα σε μέρη που έχουν δίπλα κόσμο, όπως π.χ. είμαστε εμείς ή η Ρόδος ή η Σύμη ή οποιοδήποτε άλλο νησί, βέβαια και υπήρχε αυτή η ζήτηση, υπήρχε αυτή η ανάγκη. Σε εμάς είναι δηλαδή μια ένεση οικονομική κάθε φορά που έρχονται τα τουρκικά τα πλοιάρια από απέναντι, φέρνουν κόσμο. Και όσο υπήρχαν, για να καταλάβετε, φέτος υπήρχε μια αύξηση από τις προηγούμενες χρονιές σε σχέση με το 19 το πάρουμε, γιατί τα υπόλοιπα χρόνια δεν μπορούμε να τα πιάσουμε, η οποία, αν το βάλετε κάτι, ήταν αρκετά μεγάλη.
About 42,000 people arrived on the small island of Castellorizo from Turkey up to October last year. This summer, with express visas in effect, local businessmen expect that to increase to 50,000.
Όπως λέμε, πώς είναι ο Έλληνας τουρίστας, πώς είναι ο Έλληνας επισκέπτης, δηλαδή το ίδιο πράγμα είναι και ο Τούρκος επισκέπτης. Δεν αλλάζει κάτι στην νοοτροπία. Αυτοί που έρχονται, για να καταλάβετε, είναι κάποιες οικονομικές άνεσες. Παντού, σε ό,τι και να κάνει με μικρά νησιά, τα οποία είναι πολύ κοντά στην τουρκικά παραλία, αν υπάρχουν απέναντι, όπως και σε εμάς, προορισμοί τουριστικοί, εύκολα έρχεται κόσμος ο οποίος είναι της δυνατότητας να ξοδέψει, να φάει, να πιει, να κινηθεί καλά. Πράγμα που σημαίνει ότι είναι καλός επισκέπτης.
The new legislation is expected to also solve the problem of private boat owners, not only from Turkey but from around the world. Always wanted to visit the Greek islands but couldn't because they didn't have a visa. Diplomatic sources said the details of the project will be finalized in the coming weeks and that Greek authorities are pushing for its implementation as soon as possible. Besides, this is one of the top priorities for Athens, while Greece and Turkey try to build confidence and improve their relations. The official announcements are also expected to answer all the questions already being asked by travel agents on both sides. But for now, hopes are high that the scenic islands of the Aegean will see a lot more tourists this summer. Fay Doulgheri, Athens, TRT World.
Let's bring in my guests. Nicholas Vafiadis is a Greek media executive, and Tarik Oğuzlu. He is a professor of international relations, and he is also dean of the Faculty of Science and Arts at Istanbul Aydin University. Tarik, Nicholas, great to have you both on Across the Balkans. Nicholas, let me start with you. I feel like after that Erdogan-Mitsotakis meeting, what ordinary people talked the most about was visas, right?
It was one important issue. Greece has actually supported Turkey's bid to have a visa-free access to all Schengen area, but the Europeans were very skeptical about that. So Greece had to persuade a lot of people within the European Union in order to make sure that this at least small scheme of just 10 islands with a visa liberalization process would assist both Greece and Turkey in the sense that the Greek islands are the islands that has suffered the most because of the migration waves over the last decade, and they have lost a part of their revenue from tourism because of the migration process. Now, the fact that liberalizing the visa for Turks, that secures the local tourism industry, with very good customers. Turks are famed in Greece as good spenders, as family people who are quiet, who are good tourists and good for the business. And on the other hand, Turks have easy access to the Greek islands without having to go, to Istanbul or to Ankara in order to secure a visa and spend a lot of time and money. They just board on a ferry, they get their visa on the ferry, and they land on the Greek islands. They can stay up to 7 days. That is a very good thing. It's what President Erdogan called situation Kazan, win-win situation for both sides.
Right. Tarik, it's also great news that the EU approved this, as Greece couldn't do anything without the EU's approval. So it's a good sign for Turkey, isn't it?
It is indeed, actually, because this has been in line with the recent pragmatic and realist turn in Turkish foreign policy. You know the story. For a long period of time, we had full disagreements with the Europeans, including Greeks as well, on many issues that you can imagine. But over the last 2 and 3 years, Turkish government has put into ground a new foreign policy mentality, suggesting that we should mend fences with our neighbors, and also in particular Greece, and also Turkey should improve its relations with the European Union. The closer Turkey and Greece come towards each other, the more likely Turkey's prospective membership in the European Union will be. There is a kind of equation in this particular sense, and it worked in a very positive way in the recent past, because not only for Turkey being declared as a candidate country in 1999, but even concerning the initiation of the accession negotiation in 2005, became quite possible after Turkey and Greece improved their bilateral relations decisively and began to talk with each other very sincerely. I mean, even concerning the solution of potential problems nowadays in bilateral relationship. Someone who lives in Ayvalık, facing one of these famous Greek islands, Lesbos, I'm quite happy to see that the Greek government has decided to issue 1-week-long visas to Turkish nationals. It is going to contribute not only to Greek economy, but also to improving interpersonal, intercultural relations between the two nations as well. So this is a very quite positive development.
Right. Nicholas, is this the best way forward for Athens and Ankara to focus on positives rather than the negatives? As we've heard, we've heard those reactions from Tariq as well, and I've spoke to so many people living close to the islands with Greece. This made a lot of people happy, and this is actually what they want, just to cooperate, more trade, more economic deals, more visits on both sides, especially now during a time of economic crisis.
In my opinion, it is a small step forward, but it can be a great leap for the relations between the two countries. It's actually a test. If it works properly, if it gives both sides gains, if it brings the two peoples closer together, that means that this will be a test for a broader, probably European agreement on allowing Turkish citizens to have visa-free access to the Schengen area or broader parts of Greece. Now, we have to wait and see over time how it works. For example, if traffickers take advantage of this measure and provide fake Turkish passports to migrants and they use it for trafficking, that will be very negative. So if it works properly, and there are fears that, some people might abuse this measure, but if it works properly, I think it's the first step towards bringing closer Turkey to Europe, to Greece first, and then to Europe in the broader sense. Greece expects to see, how it develops. It's good for both sides. And the people-to-people ties have been over the centuries, I would say, very close. They're sympathetic to each other. They realize, especially, we had the recent earthquakes in Turkey where every Greek was moved and tried to assist. We had our cases of natural disasters like the fires, the forest fires that we received assistance from Turkey. So it is very important that the people-to-people ties play the most important role and that this measure is not abused. This will be the greatest test for a better future for both peoples and also to bring Turkey closer to Europe.
Tariq, I want to talk about the Balkans in general. How significant is for the region to have Greece and Turkey cooperating closer, not just on the visas issues, but other issues as well?
I think we should look at the history to be able to say something quite relevant for today's international environment. Back in the past, in particular during the 1930s and 1950s, Turkey and Greece cooperated quite extensively with each other. Even these two nations set into motion a kind of regional integration process to a limited extent, of course. They had very much important in terms of establishing this Balkan Pact and Balkan Entente in the 1930s and 40s. The point is that so long as Turkey and Greece are on the same page regarding security problems and challenges in the region, it becomes quite easy for other countries in the region to come around a common negotiation position to find solutions to their problems. So in terms of regionalization of political environment in the region, Turkish-Greek cooperation is quite important. We should also not forget the fact that in today's geopolitical environment, there is a kind of ongoing geopolitical competition between the global heavyweights in these particular regions. Russians, Americans, and Europeans, even including Chinese, looking to the region from different geopolitical perspectives. So in this tense geopolitical environment, it is extremely important for Greece and Turkey, which are close neighbors, to intensify their strategic and foreign policy dialogue. It's going to be in the interest of the region, without any question.
Right. Nicholas, what could be the next step when it comes to Athens-Ankara relations? And should we be hopeful this time that it could work?
The fact that we have over an extended period of time, we didn't have any Turkish planes overflying Greek islands, we didn't have any tension in the bilateral relations, is a very positive step by itself. I mean, it is valuable for both sides. They spend less on, trying to provoke each other. And we are on the same page as Professor mentioned. Uh, because the political dialogue, this actually makes the good climate for political dialogue to proceed, because there are obviously very grave differences over some issues like the delimitation of the maritime zones, but only this can be solved only through political dialogue and not through, wars or tensions in the area. If Greece and Turkey can work together in order to proceed to the political dialogue and make big steps, if Greece and Turkey were to work on the same page, then I think all the Balkans and the broader area would have to cooperate with them, because it's a very strong axis. We are on the same, alliance. We are NATO members, strong NATO members, contributing a lot to the alliance, and we can work together. But it's not easy, because there is a history behind, that we had tensions in the area. We have to work on this new page, this new approach by President Erdogan and by the Greek politicians, so that we can find the common interests. And this visa liberalization process is the first small step in a broader sense. Let's hope that we follow this step also in the political dialogue and bring some results.
Nicholas, Tariq, thank you both for being our guests on Across the Balkans. Very nice to hear your thoughts on this topic.